All right, you guys, well, welcome to today's video. Today's video, we're gonna be getting greenhouse 2 stripped of all the plants and start prepping for getting the chickens in here for the winter months. We're sitting at the beginning of October, so over the next week or so, we're gonna be starting to get the last of this stuff harvested, pulled out. That way we can make room for the chickens. So the first thing that I'm working on today is just coming through and topping all of the pepper plants. We had them probably stretched up to about 6 feet, but the last 1.5 feet, it's a bunch of just small peppers and the main head of the plant, so they're not going to amount to anything. So what we're going to do now is just basically just nip them off right above the last big pepper. That way they stop growing and sending energy into continuing to grow tall, and they'll send energy into allowing these last few peppers to ripen. So I've already done, I guess this way, I don't know, about 15 feet. So I'm just gonna work all the way down this way and then all the way down the other side. And the peppers will be the last thing that we pull out of here, just because there's still a lot to ripen. So we'll get those all topped, let them continue to ripen, and then I'll move over to these cucumbers, we'll harvest them, and then pull them right out. And then jump over to the cherry tomatoes. There's a bunch on there still, but there's not a whole lot ripening, and it's more important to get this prep for chickens, so we'll strip those out, and then I'll have to come through and probably harvest the last of the habaneros. But I got them in a little late, so they didn't really ripen up all that great. And then what else is in here? The last of the ginger too. So we'll continue topping these plants and then we'll move on. Okay, well, the cucumbers this late in the season are going to be a little bit on the rough side. I don't know what it is that causes it, but they're not as nice as they are in the early spring. I find you start to get a bit of a weird shaped neck, and then it's just almost like get a little scarred up. So I'm going to be very selective, just take the nicest ones. So we'll go through, we'll clean this all out, and then we'll pull all the plants right down. Here we managed to get all of the cucumbers harvested and dropped. We ended up with 1.5 bins, so a pretty good harvest for the end of the season. Next thing we'll come along and do is just cut all the bottoms of the stalks off, and then we'll pull all of the support hoops out, which are just these pieces here. So these get put into the ground, and then as we lean and lower them, the stalk comes and lays along here all the way down. So there's probably like 20 of them. So we'll get all these pulled out, cut the stalks, and then we'll pull the drip tape out of here. All right, for the tomatoes, because they're gonna be so much bigger and more overgrown, I'm gonna do it in a little bit of a different sequence. I'm gonna come through and pull all the bottom supports, the drip first, get it out of the way, and then I'll unclip and just let everything drop to the ground. I don't have access to a side-by-side today. The side-by-side broke. If you guys watched one of our other videos, the shifter, been acting up all year ever since I fixed it. It broke once in the spring, and then I broke it off again here in the fall, so it's currently sitting dead in the field. and Shaylin's got the truck doing deliveries, so I'm just looking to drop everything today. And then once I have access to a vehicle, truck, whatever, tomorrow, we'll load all the debris and then take it to the compost. So I'm just gonna kind of prep it up a little bit out here instead of doing it all at the wash station. And I might just put it in bins dirty for now, and then we can wash it when we're ready to actually put it away for the winter. More or less just a time thing. So what I'll be looking to do is just cut the tops off, and then we'll just leave it like this for now. A little bit of dirt on it I think will be fine. So it didn't get quite as big as it has in years past. I've grown it in pots, I've grown it in the ground. This was the first time that we've done a full row in the greenhouse. And I think that I did pretty well, just underfed it a little bit. I could have probably fed it a bunch more, and then looking back, I think what I'll do next year too is I'll run it we're still in the process of getting this greenhouse ready for chickens. We're still waiting for those peppers to finish ripening up. But our grain silo ran empty and the company's not going to be able to get here. Right next to the door, and then we can feed it first to get it out of the weather. Unfortunately, we don't have a tractor, so me and Shaylin are very efficient at hand bombing the grain into an empty grain bag.
The bucket brigade.
The bucket brigade, yeah. So we're gonna get to that now, and then, yeah, then they'll have feed for the next few days anyway. Okay, so we managed to get that all done. Like I say, we don't normally get it like this anymore. When we first started doing farming, as we expanded, I think at one point we were getting like 10 ton a year like this, and me and Shaylin would have to do what we just did for every single one. And at a certain point it was like, we know we got to get grain silos, so we've done that. And then this time was just a miscommunication as to one of us thought the other one ordered it, and anyways, long story short, it's completely empty, so we had to do it one more time. It's not a bad deal because we needed an extra mini bag anyways for the just in case. I'd always recommend being ready for this type of thing because you can't always rely on the company to be here on time when you need it. They need to fill the truck with an order before they'll come to your farm, unless you're getting a whole truck. But if you're watching this, you're probably not getting the full load at a time. But anyway, so that's nice and close now. So we'll continue working at getting this all prepped up. All right, as you can see, we got this place looking pretty good now. We managed to get all the tomatoes, the peppers, both sides, all cleaned up out of here. And I'm not too worried about getting every last little bit. You can see there's still quite a bit of small residue left over. The chickens are gonna come in and get this all cleaned up in no time. I'll do my major clean where I rake and do all that at the end of the chicken season. So in the spring, when I put veggie starts in here, I'll have to muck out all of the bedding So we'll do a good thorough clean then, but the chickens will have a good time cleaning all this up. And then you also notice I did run the weed eater around the edge. Like any greenhouse, you're always gonna have a bit of weed pressure kind of on the edges. And this year we had real bad thistle pressure in this back corner. So I wanted to get that taken care of. It's just faster with the weed eater. You got the tools, you may as well use it. So with that being said, the next step, we'll go finish unloading the last load of debris to the compost pile. And then we'll look at getting the metal mesh along the full perimeter. That way the chickens don't scratch the plastic. Pigs, we had bought these cattle panel sort of deals. I guess they're also can be used in concrete too, like for reinforcement. But these were originally, I think they're 10 by 7s or something along those lines. And we just cut them all in half and then used them on our pig pen, and then also for a lamb pen for the summer months. So we've just tore that down, and we're gonna bring them all in here because the chickens will destroy when they jump at the plastic. They'll carve right through it. Sometimes they'll go through both layers. I made that mistake our first year we ran the chickens in the greenhouse. I didn't think they would do that much damage, but I think it was like 2 days and they had it just destroyed. So I've since learned that you need some sort of a protection around the perimeter. I have used the larger squared ones that you can get at like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, but I think those squares are about like an 8-inch, 6 or 8 inch. And if you have new pullets, sometimes they can squeeze through and then they can get stuck between the panel and the plastic. So this stuff here is a little nicer because it's about a 4-inch square, so they'll never squeeze through there. So what we're gonna do now is we'll start at the back and we'll get this all fastened on, and then we're gonna go down both sides as well, and then we'll have to do something a little bit fancier up at the front. Yo, that sun just came out, now it's smoking hot in here, but what we're gonna do here is, like I say, I just cut these in half. So on the bottom side, there's no flat piece, so we're gonna stuff these into the ground till about here, and that'll hold the bottom in nice and tight. And then for the tops, normally what I would do is zap straps, but I don't have enough, and I don't want to run to town. So we're just gonna use zap straps where we have to, probably in the seams where the panels get hooked together, but then anywhere where I can just wrap it around a pole, I'm just gonna use baler twine because I got a whack of it. This stuff always stacks up. I've used it for trellising in the past. Lots of other odds and ends when you got horses or cows and you're feeding a ton of hay. These are always around, so use what you got. So that's what we're gonna do here, is I'll wrap them around all the poles. And then I'm not looking to get too fancy, like it doesn't have to be super tight. At the end of the day, they're chickens. It's super easy to overbuild for chickens. Strung up, not sink too much money into it, stuff's free, but at least it all matches because that's important. All right, well, up in this front corner, what we're gonna have to do here is, because I still need to keep them off the plastic, but I don't want to cut these out and make them custom to fit this forever because I want to leave them full in case, again, we need them somewhere else. Is I just need to keep this off of these louvers ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is we'll fasten it secure in the corner with zap straps. And then like really we only need to keep it off probably like an inch. These actually don't open all the way. When that fan is fully engaged, it really only pulls this like that far open. Believe it or not, like it doesn't fully open like this as much as you think it might. So something like that would be just fine. And then I'll use rebar. I'll go get some of those lengths of rebar that we've used for trellising in the past, and I'll pound one on each side. So we'll just stuff that in there like that. We'll get these two kind of cinched together. Probably put one more rebar here. I might come to the front, more like that. But that completely blocks this off, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, well for this spot here, I just ended up hammering this a little bit deeper into the ground here. You can kind of see in the corner, well, maybe not really, but anyways, it's sitting about 4 inches lower, this piece, than that piece. But it leaves us access to get into the power box so that we can run power. The other thing that we'll be doing here is we're going to be running string lights all the way down. We try to run our chickens around 12 hours of daylight, even in the winter months. They don't need a lot, so we usually just run a string light all the way down on a timer and then have it kick on starting in October, and then we'll run it right until they start going out on pasture. I've just found that it helps with not having that decline in production in the wintertime. It's key if you want to be doing weekly egg subscriptions. You can't have a dip, especially if you're banking on so many a week. So anyway, that's one thing we'll do. But yeah, it's pretty. And started getting prepped up for the next thing to come in, which is going to be chickens. So as always, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you can see part 2 of this video where we bring in nesting boxes, bedding, feeders, waters, and get the rest of this set up for chickens. And we'll probably get the chickens in here too. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.